On the way home with my husband Oliver for the Lunar New Year, we were in an accident when I opened my eyes again. We'd gone back to the time before we even started dating. In our past life, we were married for 7 years, polite, distant. Like strangers sharing a roof, yet he'd never once wanted to have a child with me. It wasn't until later that I found out, his heart had always clung to his white moonlight. That irreplaceable first love reborn. I decided to set him free. We silently deleted each other on WeChat. Kept our distance, and chose entirely separate paths. 7 years later, he'd become a top stock trader. At our high school reunion, he announced his relationship with his white moonlight, Leela. Noticing I was still single, he couldn't resist taunting, "Elena, I know I've been the love of your life twice over. I get it, I'm quite a catch, but you don't have to pine for me like this." I ignored him and took my son's hand. Oliver's face instantly drained of color, his eyes bloodshot. He snapped, "Didn't you swear you'd love me forever? That you'd only ever have my children?" My next meeting with Oliver was at that same 7-year reunion. I'd just finished several surgeries, too exhausted to bother dressing up, and walked straight into the banquet hall. Oliver stood in the center of the crowd, arms slung around Leela's waist, soaking up their flattery. "Oliver, you're amazing, barely a few years on Wall Street, and you're already the most promising trader around. You're the pride of a city #1 high." No kidding, word is those Wall Street bigwigs pay him just to have dinner. Consulting fees alone hit nearly $100,000. That's a whole year's salary for us regular folks. "Oliver, I've been dabbling in stocks lately. Can you hook me up with some inside info, old classmate? Help me tuition," someone in the crowd asked curiously. "Oliver, are you and Leela getting engaged?" Oliver looked at Leela tenderly in his arms. December 20th. The crowd erupted in congratulations. Again an old classmate asked, "Oliver, are you still in touch with Elena? You two were so madly in love that, then heard you even wrote your first song for her." At the sound of my name, I noticed Oliver's smile freeze instantly, his eyes darkening slightly. Leela, standing beside him, smiled politely and answered graciously, "Oh come on, Oliver and I are getting married. Teenage hobbies don't last. And neither do teenage romance. She has long since gotten over Eleanor." The crowd laughed and went back to gushing about how well matched the two were, but I knew that song. Oliver had written it himself when he confessed his love to me in our past life. We'd fallen in love on campus, love at first sight. He'd once looked at me with utter sincerity and said, "Elena, look into my eyes. The eyes don't lie." I believed him, yet sadly in the end, he'd still lied to bad. In the end, he'd lied anyway. I walked into the banquet hall with calm eyes. A sharp-eyed classmate prodded me, "Elena, what took you so long? Why'd you come in casuals? You didn't even change into something formal? Did you just get off work? Where are you slaving away these days? We've got successful folks here, let them hook you up with an easier job." Seeing my outfit, quite a few people sneered at me. I didn't care, just smiled, maintaining basic decorum from the moment I entered the hall. Oliver's gaze never left me. I spoke politely, "Long time no see." His eyes shadowed with unreadable emotions, then scoffed, "Elena, after all these years, you haven't changed a bit, still so unambiguous." Leela shot me a venomous look. She deliberately clung tighter to Oliver's arm, cooing possessive lie in front of me as if staking her claim. "Oliver, how can you talk to an old classmate like that? She's having a tough time. But we shouldn't rub it in. Elena's been through enough already." She sized me up and down, a sneer playing on her lips. "But Elena, what on earth is that outfit? It's so mismatched. You're not getting any younger." "You meant that a woman should take care of herself, otherwise she'll end up unmarried. What man would like a slob? Want me to lend you some makeup?" Hardly had she finished speaking when the classmates burst into laughter. After all, Leela was decked out in luxury brands, with flawless makeup. Even her hair was meticulously styled, every gesture exuding the innate elegance of a wealthy young lady. As for me, I'd just come from the operating room, having gone nearly 24 hours without sleep. I looked utterly drained, worn to the bone. I was in the comfiest casuals, no brand, bought cheaply at a street stall. No match for her at all. "No thanks, not needed for now," I replied simply. Sitting down to eat on my own after the high-intensity surgeries, I hadn't eaten all day. I was sitting there, savoring the food, when Oliver suddenly walked over and laid a 100,000 yuan check in front of me. Take this. It's from me. For old time's sake, treat yourself better from now on. Get a more respectable job. Buy some new clothes, learn to love yourself. Elena, the past is gone. Don't get stuck in it. If it weren't for you, never mind, it doesn't matter. The important thing is, don't lose all motivation to live just because I left on T. Give up on yourself, okay? I looked up in confusion, meeting Oliver's eyes. His unfinished words piqued my curiosity. What had I done in our past life to make him abandon me without a second thought after rebirth? In our last life, we'd gone from school uniforms to wedding gowns. He had his own musical dreams, while I wanted to study medicine. Both were careers that drained money and energy naturally. Someone had to sacrifice because I loved him. I didn't hesitate to give up my chance to pursue a master's and PhD in medical school. I started working early, supporting both our dreams with my single income. He failed again and again. Grew frustrated, then despondent, then listless, and I, like an ever-charged power bank, would come home exhausted each day and patiently soothe his moods. I thought he'd understand my love, but when he wanted a new guitar yet again, and I refused because we couldn't afford it, he flew into a rage and smashed his old one. Do you know? If I'd listened to Leila back then, gone to study in America with her, I'd never have to live this miserable life. I really regret being with you. After that, he stopped playing the guitar. He'd lost his dream, and I, haunted by his words, I really regret being with you. Often cried myself to sleep, but I made one last attempt. I held him gently and said, Oliver, I want to have a baby with you. He shoved me away, his eyes filled with indescribable loathing. Can we even afford a baby right now? And I told you before, I hate kids. I don't want to have a child with you. Those words shattered the last glimmer of hope in my eyes. That Lunar New Year, an oncoming truck ended both our lives. In that moment, I felt no fear. Only relief. Now that we'd both been reborn, we'd chosen to keep our distance. There was no need to cling to old feelings. I silently pushed the check back. No need. I don't accept things from strangers, thank you. He frowned, demanding, Elena, am I a stranger to you? What do you mean by that? I replied, I can buy my own clothes, whatever my job is. I think it's respectable, no shame in it, and I don't think I'm giving up on myself. Save this money for someone who needs it. He stood there clutching the check, his lips pressed tight. Leila walked over to Oliver, glanced at the check in his hand, and seemed to piece things together. Her eyes blazed with anger, but her voice stayed soft and gentle. Elena, you won't take our kindness? Then let's offer something more concrete. I just opened a nail salon on Changfu Avenue. Come by. Obsession. I'll make you an apprentice. The pay isn't great, about 6,000 a month. But you'll learn a skill. Even if you hit rock bottom, you could open your own shop someday. How does that sound? It's certainly more respectable than whatever you're doing now. I ate calmly, declining their offer. Thanks for your kindness, but I'm satisfied with my job. No plans to change it. Some classmates shouted at me, Elena, why be so ungrateful? Oliver and Leila are being good-hearted, giving you money and a job. Just take it. Really, you're this down and out and still care about pride? If you're doing this badly, you came to the reunion to mooch, right? Stop putting on an act. Leila chimed in falsely, guys, don't say that. Maybe Elena really loves her current job. She turned to me. Elena, this is our goodwill. For old time's sake, we're offering you this job. Don't let pride make you miss the opportunity. I truly couldn't fathom this, shoving money and jobs at me like I was a charity case. Really, no need. Thank you. Leila kept smiling sweetly, but her eyes dripped with disdain and mockery. Oliver crumpled the check in his hand, sneering, Ape, I love mud. Indeed, can tea even lift you up? Rot in poverty for all I care. Right after that insult, several former male classmates swarmed over, trying to force me to drink. Elena, you look so pitiful. Drink one glass, and I'll transfer you one. Really that pitiful? I'll add more. Their gazes were lecherous. Classmates laughed, but no one stepped in to help me. I frowned. This reunion was nothing like I'd imagined. If I weren't waiting for someone, I'd have stormed out. I was about to call security when Oliver, standing nearby, stubbed out his cigarette and grabbed the harasser's arm. His eyes were icy, his voice seething. Cut it out. The man yelped in pain. Leila tugged at Oliver's sleeve. Oliver, what are you doing? His face remained cold. Doing the right thing. This is a reunion. Not a place for your nonsense. With that he shoved the man away, who glared venomously at me but didn't dare to cross Oliver. I couldn't help glancing at Oliver, surprised he'd come to my aid. Leela ground her teeth, but smiled. Heard the young master and CEO of Chenghu Group are in the conference room upstairs. Maybe we'll get lucky, catch a glimpse of a city's richest man. At that, the classmates perked up instantly. A city's richest man, handsome, loaded. Supposedly barely in his 30s, with a 5-year-old child, his wife, though hiving for Feldlied session. Had always been a mystery. Will we get to see his wife today? I have to post this on Douyin, exclusive content. Soon, a group of bodyguards escorted a young boy into the banquet hall, and the crowd erupted with excitement at entourage. This must be the richest man's young master. He's really handsome, just like his dad, the man who'd harassed me. Still smarting but unrepentant, dared only to vent at me. Elena, if it weren't for Leela. Someone like you slaving away out there would never lay eyes on the richest man's little prince. If I were you, I'd kneel down and thank for. Maybe you'd even get that nice job and marry someone like me, making 6,000 a month. Delusional. I ignored him, calmly watching the young prince. Everyone swarmed over with obsequious grins, frantically snapping photos and filming the young master with their phones. Even high and mighty Leela approached him with a sickeningly sweet, almost fawning smile. Little guy, want anything to eat? Auntie I'll pay for it, she cooed, reaching out to pinch his cheek as she spoke. But no one expected what happened next. The little boy, surrounded by bodyguards, ignored all the adults around him and walked straight toward me with a sweet smile. He threw himself into my arms. Mommy, you're finally here. The once frosty young master melted into a mopey pout. You didn't come home yesterday. Baby missed you so much. I hugged my running son tightly, murmuring comfort. Mommy was working. Remember? I told you when I left yesterday. Tomorrow's my day of Phil. Take you out to play. Okay? My precious Lucas nodded eagerly. Okay, Mommy's the best. The classmates stared in stunned silence, their eyes wide with disbelief before they could speak. A handsome man in a sharp suit hurried down from the upstairs conference room. Honey, the hotel manager said you're here at the reunion. Why didn't you tell me you'd finished work? I would have come to pick you up. He said. The hotel manager stepped forward, addressing the gaping crowd. This is Ethan, CEO of Chenghu Group, and Mr. Ethan is Mr. Selena's husband. If you have any requests during your meal, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll do our utmost to ensure a perfect experience for the ladies' old classmates, as a gesture of hospitality. Faces shifted dramatically. Some looked thrilled, while those who'd mocked me earlier turned deathly pale. A few female friends I'd been close to couldn't help asking, Elena, your husband is a city's richest man. Ethan, obviously. Didn't you hear the manager call her Mr. Selena? And the little boy called her Mom. She must be the tycoon's enigmatic wife. Well, now that's real nobility. I smiled politely at the buzz around me. Meanwhile, Ethan skimmed my outfit, then pulled me gently into his arms. Concern in his voice. Just got off your shift at the hospital? Let's head home after this. You need to rest. I nodded. Okay. The seemingly cold man ignored Leela, who tried to strike up a conversation, and fixed his gaze directly on Oliver with a hint of disdain. You're my wife's sex? Thanks for letting her go. If it weren't for you, I'd never have met someone this amazing. Oliver ignored the jab, instead looking at me with a complicated, almost unraveled expression. Elena, is this your way of punishing me? He demanded. How much did you pay these actors? I set our son down and took Ethan's hand firmly. This is my husband. Ethan. His face flickered through disbelief, then shock, then a deathly pallor. Once, I might have cared about his every reaction. That as he'd said, what was past. Why dwell on it? I had a new love. A child, my dream job. And a happy marriage and family I'd never had in my past life by any measure. This life was far happier. Leela had hosted the reunion. But once my identity was revealed, everyone's attitude shifted. In mere minutes, they went from fawning over Leela to showering me with attentions. Who'd have thought Elena married the richest man? Oliver tried to brush her off with a chut. How embarrassing, right? He thought his ex was doing badly, but she upgraded big time. Leela wanted to get her a job as a nail technician. I just heard Elena's the chief surgeon at a city's top hospital. Super impressive, like she needs someone to find her a job. How ridiculous. Elena, why didn't you tell us you were married? We'd have given you a huge red envelope. Watching my former classmates who de-snubbed me earlier, suddenly trying to ingratiate themselves, I stifled a laugh but maintained polite pleasantries. I lost interest in the reunion quickly soon. Ethan and I left with our son in our arms just outside Changhua Hotel. Oliver chased after us, calling my name. I told Ethan to take our son to the car first. It was November, and the night air was chilly. He nodded silently, trusting me as always. Oliver looked at me with a mix of confusion and incomprehension. Aaron, how did you end up marrying Ethan? There was no point hiding it. Ethan's mother had been hospitalized with heart disease at our hospital, and I was her attending physician. We talked often about her condition, which was how we'd meet. He admired my dedication to my patients and my passion for my profession. Ethan pursued me aggressively. I'd noticed how filial he was to his mother, and I'd formed a good impression of him the day Ethan formally confessed his feelings to me. I asked him a few questions. Do you want children? I do. I could say something nice right now, like I'll respect whatever you want, but I want to be honest. I want kids. My dream is a happy family of 3. I kept a straight face and pressed on. Would you stop me from continuing my medical research? He shook his head earnestly. Never. A person's true potential isn't limited to family. It also lies in contributing to society and fulfilling oneself. I'll support whatever you want to do. One last question. Will you ever regret this? He smiled. Ethan, never regret anything. From that day on, I agreed to give us a chance for both him and me to start over. Later, we fell in love naturally and got married. The wedding was very low-key, just a simple registration and a small dinner with close relatives and friends. As I finished telling this, Oliver's eyes had unknowingly reddened. Is that little boy really your child? But you once said you only wanted to have children with me. How can you have a child with another man now? His words left me speechless. I could only remind him with his own logic. Oliver, the past is gone. Can't you let it go? There's no need to take last life's vow seriously in this life. When we implicitly broke up, wasn't it clear that no contact both in our past life and this one was for the best? Besides, in our past life, you regretted being with me and didn't want children with me at all. I couldn't love like that. Oliver roared angrily. I regretted it because you never supported me. You emailed music publishers telling them not to accept my songs. His words left me utterly confused. What are you even talking about? I don't understand a word. I never sent any emails. Back then, I worked 3 jobs to fund your music dreams. I had no time for such nonsense, and I wanted you to succeed more than anyone. Couldn't you feel that in our past life? My words hit him like a thunderclap. Oliver froze, as if struck by a huge blow. He instinctively covered his mouth, seemingly unable to accept the truth, and pressed on. Then why wouldn't you buy me a new guitar back then? I finally understood the meaning behind Oliver's unfinished sentence. At the reunion, did you think we had any money left? Your father was ill. We emptied almost all our savings on his hospital bills. After paying for groceries, what else did we have? Should I have stolen a guitar? Oliver fell into complete despair, muttering to himself, no whine to himself. Leela told me you emailed them. That's why I never made it. You didn't want me to succeed. You were afraid I'd leave you if I did. If our past life left me disappointed and hurting. In this moment, I felt utter desolation toward that past love. We were together for years. How can a casual word from someone else negate all my efforts? Don't you see how absurd that is? I sighed. My husband and son are waiting. I have to go. Oliver hurried after me, calling out, Elena, do you still love me? I shook my head firmly. The love from our past life is long gone now. I love my husband and my son. I didn't understand why he'd asked that. After all, he'd been the one saying there was no need to dwell on the past, but I meant it had truly let go. Unexpectedly, just a month later, news broke that Leela's father, Sebastian, was involved in tax evasion, using shoddy materials and housing projects, falsifying data, and bribing officials. I was quite shocked when I heard. Once high and mighty, Leela looked utterly desolate on camera. All her assets had been seized by the court, she didn't even have a home to return to. And her father, convicted of multiple crimes, would likely spend the rest of his life in prison. The real victims, though, were the ordinary people who'd spent their life savings on those houses only to get shoddy, dangerous buildings. Hearing the news, I couldn't help sighing. That's too much no conscience in business at all. Ethan pouted beside me. Honey, don't love me in. I've got a conscience. I laughed. Ethan had always insisted on making the highest quality products at the lowest prices. All his products, hotels, and real estate used the best materials and were sold at fair prices. That's why his company grew bigger and more reputable. Respect consumers, and they'll reward you. But people like Leela's father, cutting corners to make money while ignoring people's safety, that was utterly inhuman. Not long after, I received a call from an unknown number. Hesitating for a moment, I answered it. Oliver's voice came through the line. Did you see the news? Elena, I'm the one who reported them. I frowned, confused why he was telling me this. Then on behalf of the people, thank you. Oliver's voice sounded extremely weak. Elena, have interphoned my session. Can I see you once, please? I replied sternly. Like I said before, I've let go of the past. You don't need to. Before I could finish, I was cut off by his coughing. Oliver let out a bitter laugh and went on. I went to the hospital for a checkup a few days ago at late-stage lung cancer. Elena, can we meet just once? Hearing that, something inside my head seemed to snap. I fell silent for a long time before managing to speak. My voice hoarse. Bring your medical reports and come to my hospital to find me. That afternoon, Oliver walked into my office. He'd lost a shocking amount of weight. He laid his medical reports on my desk. I flipped through them quickly, my brow furrowed tight. You'd better check into the hospital as soon as possible and cooperate with the doctors for treatment. I happened to have no cases on hand at the moment, so I accompanied him to complete the admission procedures. Once everything was settled, Oliver's eyes turned red, and he looked at me timidly, as if pleading, Wallen, I knew you'd never abandon me. You must still have feelings for me, right? I know I misunderstood you before. It was all my fault. You were so good to me in our past life, but I treated you that way. I've come to my senses now. I never regretted being with you back then. Elena, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? Can we start over? We could have our own child. Didn't you always want one with me? I frowned at him. Oliver, I need you to be clear. We broke up for good the moment we were reborn. I have a new family now. A child of my own. I hope you won't say things like that again. Oliver shook his head in disbelief. You must still care about me, or you wouldn't have gone through all this trouble for me. How can all those years of feelings just vanish into thin air? You're just mad at me. Can you stop being angry? I've already apologized. A cold smile tugged at my lips as I pulled my hand away. It's because we had so many years of history that I'm helping you now, since you've been diagnosed with lung cancer. If my actions have misled you, I'm truly sorry. You can ask your parents to come take care of you. Besides, marrying you in my past life was my biggest regret. I don't love you anymore and I don't want to have a child with you. I hope you'll stop living in the past. A past I have no desire to return to. After those words, Oliver froze, his face contorted with pain. I paid him no mind and turned to leave the ward. Oliver shouted after me, all men are the same. Do you really think Ethan likes you for who you are? Why would a tycoon like him settle for someone as ordinary as you? Wake up. You'll never be happy with him. I'm the one who's right for you. His tiresome words only made me walk faster. He was exactly the same as in our past life, looking down on those worse off when he was doing well, resenting those better off when he was struggling, even trying to drag others down with him. A man forever full of regrets, forever discontent. Everyone thought I'd married above my station with Ethan. But I knew we were equals in this relationship. Oliver saw me only as an ordinary doctor, blind to the groundbreaking research and achievements I'd made in medicine. But Ethan took the time to understand me. He once held me gently and whispered in my ear, Honey, your research has saved lives. No amount of money can do that. You're the real superhero. Because of Ethan, I finally understood what true love is. It not about one person taking and the other giving, but to people chasing their dreams together. Standing side by side, supporting each other. Oliver's petty jabs would never make me doubt our love. Yet Oliver still wouldn't give up. One day, he showed up at my office with a guitar, strumming and singing the song he'd written to confess his love. Look into my eyes. They don't lie. The familiar melody stirred no warmth in me, only deep irritation. How ironic. This song, when every day after we married, he'd lied to me without pause. I told him firmly to leave. He grabbed my hand instead. Elena, I really regret it. I truly do. I don't want to break up. It was all my fault. I didn't cherish you. Can you forgive me? I stared at him coldly. Didn't I make myself clear last time? Being with you was my greatest regret. You know what I'm most grateful for? His eyes flickered with a glimmer of hope, which I snuffed out with my next words, that we never had a child. It's the only mercy fate ever showed me. Please don't bother me again. Oliver's parents arrived just then, gently leading him back to his ward. They apologized to me profusely. I'm so sorry, Eleanor. Our son's illness has made him act out. And he's caused you so much trouble. But tell me, is there really no chance for you two at all? Looking at the couple who'd been kind to me in my past life, I spoke earnestly. Auntie, uncle, I'm married now. I have a husband and a son. Even if I weren't, I could never be with Oliver. I really don't love him anymore. I hope he'll focus on his treatment and stop bothering me. The two elders nodded, filled with remorse. Soon after, Oliver transferred hospitals. And we never heard from him again. The next time I learned of Oliver was through a call from his mother. Oliver's dying. He wants to see you one last time. Can you come? I fell silent for a long while before replying hoarsely, okay. As I hung up, I suddenly tried to recall the little details of our past life love, but I couldn't remember a thing. It turned out time really does erase everything. The next time I saw Oliver, he was emaciated beyond recognition. His cheekbones jutted out sharply, making him unrecognizable. His eyes stared blankly out the window, but the moment I stepped into the ward, a sudden spark of light flickered in them. He glanced at his own frail body and let out a self-deprecating laugh. Elena, I must look terrible like this, huh? I didn't answer. He went on, I'm sorry. I was so insecure back then. I chased my music dreams like crazy. But all I got was failure. I couldn't face it, so I blamed everything on you. Maybe this is my karma. Elena, if we could start over, really try to make it work this time. Would you choose me again? Meeting his bright, hopeful gaze, I cut through his fantasy. No. Life doesn't give that many second chances. Besides, Oliver, you'd never change. You'd never be satisfied. A person who can never be content will never find happiness, no matter how many times life restarts. Tears of regret streamed down Oliver's face. Is there really no chance? I do know I was wrong now. I gave him a firm, final answer. No chance. After that, I never went back to see him. I cherished what I had now, too much to waste a moment on the past. A research exchange opportunity abroad opened up in my field, and the hospital director recommended me directly when I arrived in the U.S. I was shocked to find Ethan and our son waiting for me at the airport. He walked toward me slowly, holding a bouquet of flowers, and my eyes lit up with surprise. Ethan pulled me into a hug, surprised. When my wife goes to study, her husband and kid follow. We're here with you. Happy? I nodded, beaming. So happy, so surprised. During the exchange, we visited many places in the U.S., making countless wonderful memories. It was during that trip that I heard Oliver had passed away. A faint sense of loss washed over me. But in the next moment, I saw two figures, one big, one small, running toward me. I opened my arms wide, embracing my future.